How's it guys, Renico Harris at Fishing Buddy SA. Yeah. So, you've seen us unbox our bucktails and testing them out, but I thought let's do a bit of a different video today on how we actually bind our bucktails. Firstly, this is the bucktail I'll be using today. This is a half ounce. Interesting fact, these are airbrushed and clear coated, so they are solid. The paint won't just fall off or break off, they will last. Firstly, we get our bucktail in, or our jig head in, tight it into the vise, and it's nice and stiff, won't go anywhere. Then we get our bobbin with our thread, and we start it quite easily. Put your thread down, do 1, 2, 3 wraps all the way, and then you go up the bucktail just to get it to be nice and even. And what I do is I clean up the thread here, makes it easier for the long run. You don't have a random thread hanging and looking bad on the bucktail, and here we just try and get the best quality we possibly can. So I always start from the bottom of the bucktail, and then I go up to the top, which is the next color. The bottom we usually do a lighter color than the top. It's just preferred. It's been how it's been made for a couple of years now, and me binding these bucktails, I've gotten used to it. It's gotten to a point of second nature. So from here on out, I just clean up the hairs that I just cut. I go ahead and I just level it out ever so slightly. From here on out, I put my hairs on. 1 bind, 2 bind, 3 bind. Not too tight, because what I want to do now is adjust the bucktail's hair to be half of the bucktail on one side and half on the other side. Doesn't always come out perfectly, but being hand binded, we try and do it as much as possible. So I just push the hairs to the center of the bucktail on this side and the center of the side. Sometimes you tend to get too little hairs when you cut. It's quite easy. A little bit goes a long way. You cut it off, add it on, and you just bind it further. So I've got my bucktail hair leveled out, and now I start tightening it slightly. This is just to make sure when I put the next color on that it doesn't move too much. Don't worry if it does end up moving. You take your finger and you just level it out by pushing towards you or away from you, depending on which way the bucktail lays. From here on out, I go to my top color. My top color will be a light blue because it fits quite nice with the blue that I've sprayed onto the bucktail. So easy step once again, you grab the hairs, you look for hairs that are primarily the same length as the other hairs that you just put on, and you grab a bunch of them. Try leveling it with your eye out so you don't go ahead and take too much at once, because if you take too much, your bucktail's binding ends up being very bulky, which you don't really want. You try and make it look as neat as possible. So from here on out, I take the hairs, find the center point with the hook, and line it over. Be careful, obviously, because you can stab yourself with the hook. Not very fun, depending on how big the hook is. So now, same process, 1 wrap, 2 wrap. As you can see, when I pulled stuff, the bucktail's hair is actually pulled up. Not primarily the best idea as of yet, because I just want to adjust. Then I will put pressure on the thread itself. So now I go ahead and I do the same process of just pushing the hairs all along the bucktail to get half blue on the top, green at the bottom. From here on out, I've got it right. I'll hold the hairs in place and I pull tight, and then it starts springing up. From here on out, I go to the top of the bucktail, slow and steady, try and make it as neat as possible, and then I go back to the top of it. Slow and steady, putting pressure on my finger here to get it nice and stiff. When binding, you can see it actually spurts out like that. That means you're doing a good job and it will look good at the end. Now from here on out, I go back to the top, keeping my eye on it so I don't overlap, because overlapping does not look good at the end result. From here on out, I will go and grab from the thread that I actually put on the spool here, or the bobbin, and I cut myself a piece like this. So then what I do, make it like a U shape, grab my finger, and then I have a loop here at the top. So the loop goes on the head side of the bucktail, and then I start wrapping up the same way as I did before, keeping it as neat as possible, because this is going to be your ending. So all the way up, and then the final bind will be coming back up the other way. Try and keep it level, don't overlap, as it will not look the greatest. And from here on out, keep my hand on the thread, cut it loose. Then what I'll do, let me switch it up like this so you can see. Take this thread, push it through the loop, and keep pressure on the one that you cut off, for the fact that if you leave it here, it will just pop off. From here on out, I take the two ends on this side and I pull it all the way through. Don't pull too hard because it will break. And now all I do is I cut off whatever is left. Be careful not to cut into your binding, because otherwise you can just as well cut off everything and start again. There is ways to try and fix it. My recommendation, just restart, because if you ever do have to rebind it, you can make a mistake. You glue it and over time it just unravels, which you don't want. You want your bucktails to last, because they can be pricey depending on where you purchase them. So from here on out, I clean up all the extra hairs on the jig head side, and I try and make it as neat as possible. Like I said, you do not want to cut into your thread, because from there on out, it'll just, how can I say, go poof, and you will struggle. It's a waste of the hairs, it's a waste of the thread, and yeah, we try and not waste at all. So from here on out, I add my UV glaze glue all the way around the binding, getting it nice and thick, but not too thick, because your end result will not look the greatest. And from here on out, just getting everything covered in the UV glaze, trying not to hit the hairs, because otherwise the hairs will dry out. I don't really want that as of yet. From here on out, black light, shining it directly onto the thread where I just added the UV, all around. This takes a couple of seconds just to dry. It's normal. It's a patient thing to do this. Binding bucktails can work a lot on your back. Talking out of experience, I've been doing this since I was quite young. From here on out, I just do a quick touch test. That feels dry. And then from here on, we go over to the eyes. The eyes are quite easy. Same step as what I do with the thread. I'm going with the normal silver and black eyes. No need to overcomplicate it. It's just a bucktail's eye. But I feel like the silver ones fit the best on the bucktails because it looks more natural. And if I was a fish, I'd rather go for something looking natural than funny. So from here on out, I place the UV glaze over it. Don't worry if the eye moves, it's not the end of the world. Just go ahead and take whatever you can that's a sharp object, move it into place, and push it down. Same process, use the UV light, getting it nice and dry as quick as possible. I try and add some extra light onto the thread or the binding that I put on. It's just to cure it a bit more. Okay, I'll just do a quick touch test. That is perfect. And now we go over to the other side. Other side, same process, quick and easy, putting your eye in the socket that it needs to be in, pushing it nice and flush, getting your alignment correct. And then same process, adding some UV glaze on there. Same process, the backlights. Try and add on as per usual, put on both. This dries quite quickly, which makes the job a bit easier. At the end of the day, you don't have to wait for the glue to dry. And that is how you bind your bucktails. Quick and easy. What I usually do if I see the hairs look a bit tough, or as you can see, the green is much taller than the blue, you don't go and cut it like this, because otherwise it will look very unnatural. So what I do, from the top of the hairs, I just go ahead and I trim like this, just trying to get the level out as much as possible, not trying to cut out too much. From here on out, you leave it and it looks more natural, not just a square cutout which looks a bit funny. So there you have it. This is how we bind our bucktails. Obviously, like I said, we airbrush, paint, then we clear coat before we start binding. After binding, we've already glued it. We go ahead and we dip it in a clear coat once again. That just makes sure that the paint holds, the eyes, everything holds in place tougher than what it would normally. So thank you for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It might be a bit of a longer video compared to normal, but I'm just trying to show you guys more of the side that we try our best to get the best quality out for you guys at an affordable price. And yeah, Bucktails are bonded in-house. We do not purchase it anywhere else. And we believe our Bucktails are quite decent for the market, for the price, and we hope you enjoyed the video. Keep your eyes on the channel for more information. Fishing Buddy, your connection to quality tackle.